What's up, folks? David Soto Jr. here, and this is the David Soto Jr. podcast. What's up, folks? Welcome to episode 73 of the David Soto Jr. podcast. I'm your host, David Soto Jr. It's been a couple weeks. We had Thanksgiving and family over, and vacaciones. I was on vacation. I am wearing my trifocals, so I can't see. Oh my god. Well, I guess I don't need to see anything, right? I'm not gonna say getting old is a bitch or whatever people say. Getting old sucks. But it's not, but losing your awesome eyesight does suck. I had great eyes, and it started happening a couple years ago. I'm trying to dial in the perfect set of glasses for me. Anyways, so this morning I was contemplating not even recording a podcast because I didn't know what specifically I wanted to talk about. I didn't research anything. I didn't look anything up. There were a few things on my mind. The whole Kyle Rittenhouse thing, the whole thing about that shooter in, where was that? Colorado? That kid and the parents and the gun, the parents getting charged. That is a big deal. Something I've felt strongly about. Potential solution to their gun issue. But I didn't get any talking points down or notes or even look. I don't even know those people's name. I don't even know what state that was in. Was it Colorado? I thought about adding the next next part of the story of us, part 5, about you know who and me. But then I remembered about an article I wrote called "How to Live Forever," an essay. I used to call them articles, and I realized they were essays. And it made me, I thought of it last night where I was watching this lady, and I don't know her name, but I found her on YouTube, and she makes, this Mexican lady that makes videos of her cooking in her outdoor kitchen. Mexican food. So it's can't get any more authentic than the Mexican lady in Mexico making food on her comal, her open fire pit. No gas, no propane, no oven, no stove. Everything is done on an open fire stove, comal. I don't know what to call it. So I started watching these videos, and I guess this mic is on. I started watching these videos, and I was like, I don't know, in love with it, like enthralled by it. Enthralled? Intrigued. There you go. I was intrigued by it, and for one thing, to see that this lady doesn't have a kitchen, or she doesn't have a stove, and she does all her cooking on a little wood-fired oven. or wood-fired stove, which is handmade. Of course, those albañiles, those bricklayers can make anything out of brick or mud or clay, or I don't know. I wish I had that skill. So I've been watching her videos and just blown away. The food she makes looks so good. It's different. And it's Mexican food, but it's different because it's in a different part of the country, I guess, than what I am used to or where I have traveled to. It's like if you made rice here and rice, like if you made jambalaya here in St. Louis and then went down to Louisiana, it would be different and probably better from a different location. So anyway, so I watched this lady. The name of her channel is De Mi Rancho a Tu Cocina. So from my ranch to your kitchen. And rancho actually isn't ranch necessarily. It's sometimes what's called a small town. Is it? From my small town to your kitchen. Anyways, maybe it does mean. Maybe it means something different. Maybe it means like my property, right? Mi rancho would be, because I remember people telling me at mi rancho there is, and I thought he was talking about the town, the small little, not even a town, but the small section that has its own little name, and it's not a municipality necessarily, but it's just an area where it's like a equivalent definition would be like maybe a subdivision, right? It's not a subdivision is not a municipality, it's not a city, it's not a town, but it's a little section. And I've heard the word rancho used in respect to that. But when people say mi rancho, maybe are they talking about their neighborhood or subdivision type of area, or are they talking about the land and that they own or that they live on? That's interesting. But it's not necessarily a ranch like you would see on Yellowstone, which is awesome. I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I realize that part of my beard is, no, not the mirror, the camera. Letting my beard grow long, and it's kind of untamed right now because I woke up. Oops, sorry. Okay, so I'm wasting time. Every time I say I want to stab myself. So I'm watching this lady. I've been watching her, and then I'm trying to get ready to make tamales for Christmas, of course. I skipped last year. I made Christmas ribs, which were good, but I didn't want to. In order to make tamales, you need help. In order to have help, you need people over. It was COVID, blah blah blah. I ended up having relatives over, just a few. Whereas when I had tamales the year before, I had a huge party. I'm still gonna be minimum. We're not going to be making as many. It's probably why I've been so hesitant, because I'm not going to have a lot of help, and it's just a lot of work. I'm going to try and be more efficient this year. Anyways, I'm always curious about how to make the salsa roja. There's so many ways, and what kind of chilies do you use? What ratio of chilies? Guajillo seems to be some of the most popular chilies to use. If you go to the Mexican grocery store at this time of year, next to the hojas, next to the corn husk for tamales, is the guajillo, bags and bags and bags of guajillo chilies. So, but people have different combinations of chilies and how they use it. And I've been told to that it's only chili and salt. That's how I've always made it. I've never put anything, garlic, cuminos, or anything like that. And the one thing is that I don't remember my grandmother really ever making that salsa, that sauce. That she made the pork, and it was delicious, but I never saw her make extra sauce to pour on top of your tamales. It was just different the way she made them. But anyways, so I'm looking into making tamales. I've done it a few times. They turn out pretty good, actually, so far. But I'm trying to look at the best way to be efficient and make it easy. And then since it's so inconsistent over the years and when I make tamales, is that I don't remember exactly how I made my salsa. So I asked Mona, and she gave me her ratio, or she gave me 3 chilies. She uses more New Mexico, more California, and a little bit of guajillo, where everybody else has been using mostly guajillo and another. Anyways, my point is that I went to this senora to see how she makes it, and she made some kind of, I don't even know what kind of tamales she made. She put some green leafy vegetable in it, which I could not capture. The whole thing's in Spanish, so I could not capture what it was she put in her masa. Green leafy vegetable in her masa. Maybe I'll try and play it over again. I sent the link out to some friends to see if they could capture some native speakers to see if they could hear what she says. That stuff is. Anyways, completely different. How she makes the tamales is completely, the biggest thing is to evenly distribute the masa on the hoja, on the corn husk. And so there's always, that's the trouble, is like, oh, get too thin, get too thick. This lady just got a spoonful of masa and threw it into the hoja and made a little space for meat, and then she put her meat on there inside and then closed it up and wrapped it up. That is a totally different technique than I've ever seen, and it's so much easier though. You probably end up getting a lot more masa than you would meat, but there's a reason for that, right? A lot of food that people think is delicious nowadays, it used to be what poor people ate. So a tamal would be easy to transport when you go to work. You could throw it in your mochila, right? You could carry it with you. You could unwrap it and eat it. It just made something convenient to eat. Corn has always been cheaper than meat, obviously. So the more masa you would use, the less meat you would have to put in it, or the less meat that you would have available. So I remember my grandfather eating everything he could off a bone whether it was a steak or a chicken thigh or whatever. But if he could get it off there, he would eat it. And that's just the result of being poor and not being able to afford very much meat. And when you could get it, you ate and used whatever you could get off of it. You got your money's worth. So seeing this lady make these tamales that were a lot of masa, that explains why her tamales have so much. Which may now just be the recipe, not because of the fact that meat is so expensive. It just may be either like out of habit, or that's just what the recipe is now. Again, people are loving beef shank right now, becoming popular, and that's one of the toughest cuts of meat. But it's becoming a thing. And for birria tacos is a really big popular thing. It's usually made of goat, but the alternate is to make it out of beef shank. Again, poor people's cut of meat, super tough. They learn how to cook it, they learn how to flavor it, and then generations later it becomes a delicacy. Anyways, I'm introducing my topic, and I still haven't gotten to it yet. Oh, I didn't want this to be a long episode. Watching the lady mix the masa, and she's mixing with her hand, and she says something about it's hard work, so sometimes you need help. So she gets her daughter to come in, and her daughter comes in and starts mixing the masa. And I'm watching her, the lady, la señora, she's wiping the masa off her fingers. So now it's pork lard and cornmeal and everything. It's all on her fingers. And I'm watching her kind of get it all off her hands. And that triggered me. I guess, is there a good trigger? It just brought back a really warm feeling, a really good memory of my grandmother and how she used to do that, and how she would clean her fingers and then push all the masa towards the tips of her fingers with one hand or one finger, push it all towards the end, and then flick her hands so that as much of the leftover masa that was on her hands, because how she mixed it, ended up back in the container where she was mixing, where the rest of the masa was. Boom. And I just remember that seeing the señora do that made me think of my grandmother and how she used to do that very same thing. And it just made me feel wonderful, great. I'm 47 years old. My grandmother has been dead for 21 years, almost 22 years. And I feel her love just as much today as I did when I was a little boy living in her house. And that's the topic of this podcast, is how to live forever. And the answer is love. How do you live forever is love. Everything is energy. Matter is energy. Everything, if you break it down far enough, you get to everything is the same thing. Energy. And energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It just exists. So if you love someone, if you're actually in the act of loving them, you're transferring this energy to them. Or maybe you're giving it off, this energy, and they're picking it up. You felt love before. You know what it's like to feel that feeling. Feel that feeling. You've experienced it. It doesn't go away. So 20 years down the road, you feel that. You have a memory, it triggers a response. And my grandmother's been dead for almost 22 years, and the only thing that's changed is that she's not here. All of my memories of her, the stories that I tell, the feelings that I have, the dreams that I have, the times that I cry because I miss her, those have not gone away. They will not go away. That is her love. That is the love that I got from her. And it will never go away. The other person in my life that has been gone for probably 37 years now was my godmother. The woman that my daughter's is named after, middle name is named after. When people die, people pass away, sometimes the memory of them fades, or their love fades. But my Nina, right, my godmother, I feel that woman's love, even though I was only 10 or 11 years old, 10 years old when she passed away. I still have all the memories. I feel all the love as if she never left. The only thing I don't have is like new love and new memories or past that certain day, which that day, by the way, is the same day that both these women died. They both died on the exact same day, 15 years apart, if you can believe that. The point here is that we're going to die. We are going to pass away. And it's becoming more and more relevant as I just heard the news of somebody close to me. Not close enough that I've ever been to his house. But just a friend, a very, very close friend of my brother. And my brother is my age. He's 6 months younger than me. And he's been friends with this guy for 25 years or so. And he just passed away. He's been fighting with cancer for a couple of years. And it was never good. It was never, I didn't think it was ever anything he was going to recover from, and he didn't. But people my age are dying now. Like, granted, I hope to be a healthy and able 80 and 90-year-old. But people around my age, around 45 and 47 or even 50, are dying. And that is and as I get older, more people I know die. And it's a constant reminder that our time here on this earth is very limited, and that we need to take advantage of the time we have here. And we need to take advantage of that time by creating those memories, by putting out that love, so that we can live on. The legacy that we need to leave is the only legacy we really can leave. Yeah, material things, land, homes. Or you think that's your legacy? The legacy is love. The only real thing that you can leave your children or people or friends or family is love. That's the only thing that can't be taken away. You could leave somebody a big plot of land that's beautiful, but what if they can't afford a property tax? What if it gets stolen? If it gets taken? What if they sell it? That's not a legacy. You leave somebody a bunch of money, an inheritance, and then they spend it all and it's gone. The only true legacy that you can leave your children is love, and that it will never go away, and that for the rest of their life they will feel that, and they'll always have that, and they can take that to their grave, or maybe pass that on to their children. You want to know how to live forever? Love. That's it. I hope I got to my point, folks. That's it for now. You can reach out to me on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at David E. Soto Jr., JR for Jr. I appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you next time.